basically to answer the question, because one of the main questions I kept getting in Kenya and America was like, what's the difference in the jail, honestly? Unfortunately, I got caught by some thirsty, corrupt police officers on my second day in Kenya, and I went to prison, man. I was locked up for 10 days, so even in the prison, they kept asking me in the jail, like, what's the difference? Now, fortunately and ironically, because we in the capital of jails in America, ain't we? Like, don't America lock up the most of its citizens more than any other country?
I'm not quite sure
Like
about
by
that for a
far.
fact, but I'm pretty sure it should be.
Hold on, that's why I'm glad we got the internet. USA is in the lead. After USA is Belarus. I ain't never
Belarus.
Oh, Belarus. Where's that? Like Ireland? Okay, so
Near Russia. I forget what country.
South Africa is third, Poland is fourth, Mexico is fifth. So, but yeah, America is leading by far. So to me, it's just ironic for me to live over 3 decades in a country that's known for locking people up, especially black people. To never go to prison in my life until my second day in Kenya, that's crazy,
It's
man.
crazy
Like,
ironic, man.
yeah, man. So Kenya definitely has a problem with their justice system and all of that. But I just want to break down basically some of the things that's better about jail out there and some of the things that's worse. Because a lot of the brothers out there was assuming like, oh man, we know it's way worse in our jail here. I can't compare the prison because unfortunately I never went to prison in America in my life. But I've been in jail for nothing, just like in Kenya a bunch of times here. So I can compare the jail here to the jail in Kenya. Now, first of all, one of the pros about jail in Kenya is they rarely close the cell door. Like, it was unlocked maybe 75% of the time. So we could walk freely through the hallways, go into like the 2 outer rooms. So it was a level of not freedom because you're still locked up, but you can move. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Not isolated in there.
Exactly. You're not stuck in one room, 4 walls for hours and hours and hours. Right. And they would run back into the cell whenever the guards would come in, but most of the time we was chilling out in the hallway. Another big pro, a giant pro, y'all got women. Like in the jail, there's women in another cell.
I mean, damn.
You feel me? Now, it was 10 cells all together. Out of the 10, maybe 5 were filled with people. 4, it was all men. And the 5th one cell was all women in there. So the women usually stayed in their cell and didn't walk around like the men. Where you would see a pretty face, nice little booty walk through there from time to time. Like, so that changed the vibe 100%. You know what I'm saying?
Keep you kind of sane.
You feel me? While we would be chilling in the hallway, it usually would be like maybe 4 or 5 guys crowded around the women's cell trying to shoot their shots. So it was decent. I kind of like that because when you go to jail in America, you don't see another woman, man. Like, it's nothing but men after that. Well, that's definitely better. They food was a little better. Now jail food is jail food. It ain't gonna be great. You know what I'm saying? But what they were serving me in the Central Police Station in Kenya compared to what the bologna sandwich that you get here, leaps and bounds better. They would give us tea and sometimes like sweet bread in the morning, I think mandazi, and then they would feed us like 2 more times, like a lunch and a dinner.
Okay.
And it wasn't the best food in the world, but it was like, all right, I would rather eat this, and it does seem like it might be a little more nutrition than a bologna sandwich. Because for the Africans who don't know, I think it's unguruwe, it's pork, and it's not any of the good, I don't think any parts of the pig is good, personally. But it ain't the good cuts of the pig, it ain't bacon or ham or nothing. It's the leftover meat, and then they smash it together on a patty, and that's a bologna sandwich for you. So, intestine, stomach line, and it's nothing you want to eat. So that's the jail food in America. So I'll say y'all eating a little bit better, at least in the jails in Kenya. Another big pro, your family could bring you food up there. When you're in the jail, your family can come to the gate and they'll bring you and give you so you can eat a home cooked meal while you in jail.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's a big plus, a big advantage. We don't get to, you can't do nothing like that in jail here.
Wow.
Now, they do take some of your property, but they only took my belt, one of my shoes. I got to keep my other shoe, and then they took my cash, but they left my wallet. I still have my hotel room key. They pretty much left me everything else. So that felt a little, I don't know, I guess more comfortable in a way. It definitely take your phone. They took my cameras. They don't want you recording nothing in there, but you get left with some of your property at the end of the day. So that was a little decent. I just didn't like the fact that they took the one shoe because there was some parts in there that was, the floor was wet, especially the bathroom, salon. So that was trash. You would either have to borrow somebody else's shoe or hop on one foot. I had to hop a couple times just to go pee. But still, just leaving you with the majority of your stuff is decent. Because in America, they taking your belt, they taking your shoelaces, they taking the string out your hoodie, all your jewelry, everything out your pockets, basically. They taking all of your stuff. And I still got a couple hoodies they messed up because I ain't know how to put the string back in the hoodie. So, you know what I'm saying? I know now. Only other thing I'll say, but this is a big plus again, the amount of times y'all go to court and how quickly y'all go. I was going to court 2-3 times a week, like back to back some days. It'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I done went to court every day. In America, it ain't really like that. Like, I actually got lucky and got a court date maybe 3 weeks later here when I got into it with them in January. And that's fast for here. Usually your court date is at least a month, maybe 2 months after the incident. So for you to go not only the same week, but 2-3 times a week, that's much better in terms of moving things along with the court process. That's it for the pros. As far as the cons, it definitely was some things that was worse about jail in Kenya. The first one I'll say, you on TV when you go to court. Like it's filmed. You end up on the TV show basically for the whole country to see.
Actually, all the F11, they have a column for remarks at the end, the right end. If you've not picked any item with requisition for, I believe we could put in a word there. Not collected, or not. Did you put in any remarks?
I ain't really like that. It was interesting to me because I never seen that, but it was funny because the people in court, they had masks on, and I'm thinking like, oh, some of them still on COVID because I haven't seen that on the street. It was like, nah, that's for the cameras. They don't want their face shown on TV, or they'll be sitting there like this the whole trial, hiding their face. There's 3 cameras right there, so I'm on film somewhere in Kenya. Like the guards came to prison and told me, like, I saw you on TV the other day. So some people in Kenya have seen me on trial, my first court date out there. That's crazy. Another con, a big one, is the guards are quick to hit you out there. They all walk around with sticks, like batons and all of that, and I saw a lot of people get cracked. I got hit a couple times myself. Now to be fair, they wasn't hitting me hard, probably because I was American, to be honest. But a couple times they hit me on something like, you would get it too, you know. But I saw them really like full force, hard as they could, hit a couple brothers. So I don't like that. The only difference I'll say is like, it ain't like the police won't hit you here. The police will beat your ass, some of them will kill you here. But the difference is they will hide it, which might be worse. They try to cover it up and act like, oh, we don't know what happened to them here in America. Out there in Kenya, it's like we beat you and that's what it is. Like it ain't it ain't no hiding it. So it's like that ain't cool, but I don't know which is worse when I think about it. Another con, you stay in the cell once you go to jail. In my experience going to jail here, and just so y'all understand, I've been to 3 different jails in Chicago. Got locked up on 111th in Ellis, 111th in Monterey, and just recently 78th in Houston. And typically it's been the same experience of like, you end up in a holding cell with a bunch of guys, and then eventually after so many hours, they put you in your own cell, a smaller version there by yourself. In Kenya, you never go to your own cell. Like, you go to a holding cell with a bunch of guys and you stay in that holding cell the whole time. Y'all all sleeping there. really like up on each other. It'd be so tight in there most nights. It might have been one night in jail where we had a little bit of space I can remember with. Most of the times they fill the cells up to where like it's no room, y'all. Head to toe, either sleeping right up on each other or on each other sometimes. And it's on straight concrete floor, which is the same in America. Ain't like you on concrete in both jails. The only difference I'll say is like it's a little bench that comes out in a lot of the American ones you can sit on, but it's still concrete, it's still cold, it ain't no cushion. But you stay with the men, like you stay in that room with a bunch of guys, and that's where you sleep every night. You never get your own cell. The other thing I speak on, talking about the cell, is the bathroom condition. Because in the cell, the holding cell in America and your individual cell, it's a toilet in the room. So you gotta go in front of other people, unfortunately, but it's like, that is better than the bathroom condition in Kenya. That was kind of crazy. That bathroom was at the end of the long hall of cells, and like I say, first of all, the floor was wet 24/7, and you was assuming it's piss, of course. You know what I'm saying? They took one shoe, so you either gotta get your sock wet with this mystery juice, or hop on one foot, or borrow somebody's shoe if you cool with somebody. And it was like one side of the bathroom had them old school urinals, the trough style. I'll put a picture up for those who don't know, because we used to have them here. I remember them when I was a shorty. At my school, at my kindergarten had them. But I haven't seen them in a while here, but they got those. Old school trough to piss in on the right, and then 4 stalls with no doors on the left, which is like holes in the ground, basically. The smell, man, like, that was one of the worst parts of it, because I guess they wasn't flushing the system enough. Strong smell of piss. Like, soon as you get to that door leading to the hall of cells, like it just smack you in the face. So that smell by itself was just bad, on top of the wet floor and all of that. So the bathroom is much worse in Kenya. You at least get your toilet in your cell in America, even though you might have to do your business in front of other people. That's prison anyway. So another big one is I had to ask to use my phone in Kenya. I didn't use my phone until like basically 48 hours after I had been locked up. And it's because I said something and was like, man, when y'all gonna let me? It took a while. There was a process. This lady ended up pushing me because they keep all your phones in this big treasure chest. Just ran, so it's everybody digging through the chest to get their phone. I'm digging through, don't see mine. And then she held it up, said it in Kiswahili, like, oh, here go your bag, mfuko yako. So this, my cameras, all that was in there, but my phones too. So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, my phone in there. And when I went to open the bag, she, oh, Mjinga. She pushed me as hard as she could, like, go back to your cell. So I'm like, what the fuck? I go back, the other guard, he like, you ain't get to use your phone? I'm telling him, like, no, she pushed me, it's in the bag. I go open the bag, now she just looking stupid, like, oh, okay, this where your phone was. But I saw her do that to several people, back to my point of them hitting people. I saw her push down this girl to the ground. Like, the girl lost her balance. All because the girl was kind of yelling, man. She was upset. They was arresting her because she couldn't pay. She was saying it all in Swahili, so I ain't understand everything. But I know she was saying, like, she couldn't afford to pay. And so they was locking her up because she was getting loud. The lady pushed all her force down to the ground. So they abusive. They'll beat you in there. But yeah, I finally got to use my phone after like 2 days of being locked up, which to me is like, they not quick to give you a call. And what if I never asked? Like, I guess it just ain't automatic, or I don't know. Another big con, a big issue with me there is how many people were staying in jail for petty offenses. They read all of our charges my last day in jail. More than half of the people in jail with me was there for either obstruction, like obstruction alone, willful obstruction, which is not a crime in itself. That's like if you arrested me for resisting arrest by itself. How you gonna do that? Like, what was the crime that I was resisting you for, that you was arresting me for in the first place? That sound like you disagreed with the police, or they was mad at you, so they wanted a reason to lock you up, basically. And then if it wasn't obstruction, it was traffic violation. And it's like, why is it this many Kenyan citizens sitting in jail, going to prison for days over obstruction or traffic violation? That's ridiculous. That would be my issue. Is like, even though one of the pros was that they go to court frequently and fast, better thank God you go on a little more frequently, because they system, you're gonna be sitting in there for a long time, even for a petty offense. In America, you get locked up for a petty offense, a misdemeanor, which is what happened with me. You get out in a few hours. Like, you might sit for half a day. It's usually 8 to 12 hours, but then they let you go. And then you just gotta come back to go to court. Now, if you don't show up for court, you get a warrant for your arrest, and then you might go to jail, but they not gonna keep you in there for days, let alone weeks, over something small, you know what I'm saying? So that's definitely a big con, a negative to Kenyan jails. Like, you might sit there for a long time for nothing. The very last negative, this is an honorable mention. This is a big negative, because it's not necessarily the jail, but it's their whole judicial system. They don't have no stenographer in court in Kenya. So while you going through court and you explaining yourself, giving your testimony, the judge is sitting there writing down word for word everything, and it takes forever, man. Like, the judge was killing me. I was in there 6 hours one day because he made me sit at the end, and I had to sit while people explaining, like, okay, so then he took my money. They, wait, slowly. And then he writing every word.
Wow, bro.
So they like, so he took the money, like, you had to slowly talk and give your testimony. Because he would be, oh, pole, because he got to write it word for word. They need to change that, man. Like, they desperately need a stenographer. That would speed up y'all court system so much faster. So that's the end. To break it down, if I don't add the honorable mention, it's basically even. It was like 6 negatives, 6 positives.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, I wouldn't say one is necessarily better than the other. I would much rather be around some women while I'm locked up and be able to leave the room and roam freely and go to court multiple times in a week. That sounds great. But at the same time, I don't want to be held for days out of my life, let alone weeks, maybe months, over a small offense, just because the system is that slow that it's no stenographer, or the system is that I gotta go to court 3-4 times before I can get released, or basically that I don't have the money, which is another issue. I didn't add that to the list because it's the same in both countries. Like, if you got money, you can get away with a lot in America and Kenya. But it's definitely like pay to play. If you got the money, you can probably pay the officer on the street to not even go to jail in the first place. Then if you go to jail, if you got money, from what I hear, you can probably pay at the police station to get out before you go to court and have to go to prison. If you make it to prison and go to court and you didn't get to pay your way out those 2 ways, then it's still a money game, because if you got the bail to get out, you can get out. So a lot of the people in there, shout out to the prisoners, was a lot of good dudes I met, because a lot of them was in there for nonsense because they couldn't afford to pay their bail. They couldn't afford to bond out. So that system is trash, but again, that's pretty similar in both countries. Like, we just, in Chicago, they just passed it. Maybe in January this year. It's no bail system now. So it's like, yeah, so now technically it is a little advantage to our city, not the whole country. But in Chicago, it's like, if it's a petty offense, you definitely not gonna have to pay no money to get out. You just gonna get out and have to go to court later. So that's an improvement, but again, that don't speak for the whole country. So that's about it, man. Like I said, I wouldn't say one is better or worse, but just in terms of my freedom, which is the biggest thing, I'll say America got the advantage, because as long as you don't do nothing crazy, super violent, or you super dangerous and nothing, you're not gonna sit in there for days and weeks and months for nothing. Like, you're gonna go to court, and even though you might have dealt with some bad cops, some assholes, hopefully you will end up, which usually happens with my situations, you go before the judge sees like, oh, this some nonsense, and they throw it out and they let you go. Shout out to Kenya, man. Even though I went through that crazy situation, shout out to the people, because the people was dope. A lot of the prisoners I met, a lot of the people I met on the outside once I got free. So I got a lot of love for the country, and I think that says a lot for the people, that I still rock with the country and even will go back after dealing with that. But Again, I don't blame the country, I blame the system, man. I blame the police officers who abusing their authority and their power. I blame the judge. Well, I don't know if I can blame the judge, because the system again is set up where it's like a court date for this, a court date for that. It ain't all the judge, but I don't feel like he was in any rush to get me out either. And just they whole judicial system out there, because even the judge and the lawyer admitted most of their system is still based off the colonial structure that was set up by the Europeans who came and colonized. And it was like, we working on amending a lot of this stuff now and fixing it because we need to change it from there.
In this process, I came to realize that we have some provisions in our law that are very retrogressive.
True.
And they are very punitive.
A lot of it is outdated and still drawn from the white people who didn't mean you any good when they set it up in the first place. So hopefully they change that, because my charge is resisting arrest and something I never heard of, preparation to commit a felony, namely stealing. And they were saying like that's really a nonsense charge. It's a way to lock people up, like resisting or obstruction for nothing. They got another one called walking to commit a felony.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that. They need to get rid of this. This was set up for probably European cops back in the day to
Randomly grab somebody who's supposed to.
exactly. Just like we got here in America with resisting arrest and obstruction and stuff like that. So thanks again for joining me on the video. So shout out to Julian. Shout out to everybody in Kenya. Much love to Miss Pauline, the Queen, who was helping me out tremendously through that whole ordeal in prison.
Listen.
Yes, sir. Much love to Pops, Donna, everybody else who looked out for me while I was out there. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all, and I'll see y'all again soon, man. Peace.